And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at a game that is almost 20 years old, 1996, and yet is a game I still have in my collection. It's a game I consider to be one of my favorite games, and it's El Grande. And that's a game that's full of cubes. And how can I like such a game like this? Let me show you how it plays, and I'm going to explain then why I think this game is one of the greatest games that has ever been designed, and a game that still holds its weight today. An amazing game. Here you go. Okay, I have an old German version of the game that has some English cards that I got with it and an English translation, so it is what it is. It's kind of weird that 10 years ago we were still hunting down English translations for games. There has been since a nicer one, but the gameplay stays pretty much the same. There's different regions here of Spain, and you have cards that match these regions. Okay, and so at the beginning of the game, they're really only used for this. You're going to put the king, you're going to use these cards to randomly determine where the king is, and where each person is going to put their large cube, the El Grande, and they'll put two of their little caballeros cubes down there with it. You also will get 7 more, and you'll have a cube on the start track. The goal of this game is to get the most points, and you're going to do that by having the most cubes in each area. Each area has a little thing here that tells you how many points that area will score for whoever has the most, second most, and third most cubes in the area. If you are scoring an area where the king is, that's worth an extra 2 points. And if you're scoring an area where your El Grande is, you will score an extra 2 points. And that only is for the person who has the most. Now, the game is going to take place over 9 rounds. You keep track of those rounds here. 1, 2, 3, and after the third round, there's a scoring round, and it actually has all the different regions here, so you remember to score each of those regions. But it's how you play the rounds that makes the difference. Each round is played the same way. There's going to be 5 decks of cards. These cards are organized by 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, although the 5th one is always the same card. It's always the same card that will be played here. Each player is also going to get a handful of cards. That goes from 1 to 13. Each card shows a number of dudes that you have on that card. So 1 has 6 of them, while 13 has none. One person goes first each turn of the game, and they play a card in front of them. Each other player will play a card, but you're not allowed to play a card that someone else has already played. So you have to play different numbers. Whoever plays the highest number is going to get to go first. They're going to get to pick the top card of this stack, and then with that card, that will give them, if you see here on the bottom, it's going to give you a certain number of guys that you can put on the board and an action. But the card they also play is going to allow them to take more of these guys from their pool. As you can see over here, there's a ton more cubes that players have not placed on them, that they don't have in their reserve. Those are called the provinces, and so you can get more of those. So the more of those you want, you're going to have to play these cards. See, the 1 gives you 6 of them, but it also means you're going to go last, picking a card that turn. So anyhow, when you play these cards, you'll put 1 to 5 guys on the board, and then you have an action. And you can do those in either order, and you can even not do the action if you want. When putting people on the board, you can never put them where the king is, and you can only put them in a spot next to the king. So if you see where the king is right now, I can put people in here, 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 these provinces, but I can't put them in these top 3. And if the king moves for whatever reason, that will also change where you can put the cubes. You can also throw any number of the cubes that you're putting on the board. Instead of putting them in a province, you can throw them into the Castillo. And as the rounds progress, there will be multiple cubes that are put into the Castillo. You can count them. You have to tell people how many you put in, but you're not allowed to look in there as the game progresses. Now, the actions on these cards, you say, why would you pick the 1? Because usually the actions let you do all sorts of cool, powerful things. If you start with the 5 lets you move the king. So every turn, someone can move the king to any new region. The number 4s sometimes let you move your Grande, or sometimes they let you do a scoring. This one's a special scoring. Each person has a wheel that they take and they secretly pick one of the regions. And if multiple people pick the region, it's not scored. Here you get one of your power cards back. That's these cards here. Sometimes you can move the king to an adjacent region. Sometimes you get a mobile scoreboard. There are 2 mobile scoreboards that are concluded with the game. And so you might say, oh man, Sevilla's not scoring enough points for me. So I'm going to put this mobile scoreboard there. Or maybe I don't want to see second or third place get any points. So these mobile scoreboards will be moved around. So that's what the 4th cards do. The 3rd cards are almost always scoring cards. They're special scorings. Score the region with the most caballeros in it. Score all the regions that have a 5. Score all the regions that have a 4. Score the Castillo. You'll look inside the Castillo and score for that. The 2s give you some powerful actions that you can take. Everyone has to send all the caballeros in their courts back to the provinces. That's a very powerful card, and you certainly don't want that to happen. Here's a veto. Next turn, you can basically cancel someone else's action that they're taking. Or you can score any province that you want. Or you can send one caballero from any region from each player back to the provinces. So there's all different powerful things, but the actions get even more powerful with the 1s. You could take one region and send your guys all over the board with this intrigue card here. Or move up to 5 guys in one region, or move 3 foreign ones in the board. These almost always are moving things in the board, and that helps you manipulate where you control things. The first thing we do when we're scoring is we're going to score the Castillo, but all the cubes inside are going to go somewhere. So each player secretly picks where they're going to send all the cubes, and then it's revealed what's inside the tower. And then you will score what's inside the tower, 5, 3, and 1, just like normal. And then those cubes will get sent to the different spots that the players said, and then you will score each of those provinces. And that's basically the game. You're going to do that 3 times in a row. More and more cubes are going to come on the board. All different action cards will be taken care of. Once you play a power card, you're done playing that power card unless you have some way to get it back. Most points is the winner of the game. One of the things I really like about Grande is how well it works with number of players. Now, I have to be honest, I think I've played this game many, many, many times. I've never played it with 2. I have no desire to play it with 2. But I will say it works, to me, equally well with 3, 4, and 5 players. I played it with those numbers many times. And with the 3 players, you don't score. The 3rd place never scores. You only score 1st, 2nd place in each region. And it has a bit of a different look because you're trying to tactically outmaneuver both people. In 5 players, being 2nd place in a lot of areas is an actual workable strategy that could win you the game. A lot of people have complained as time goes by. They don't like the Castillo. First of all, I mean, it's such a cool piece to a game. But people don't like it because some people can memorize the number of cubes that are in there. I can't. I just have I know how many I have in there, and that's about it. And I have a general idea of what everyone else has. But I like it. It adds just a little bit of uncertainty to the game where there really isn't any uncertainty. But what really makes the game shine are these cards. These power cards and these action cards. It is an amazing strategic choice that you have to sit there and go, how much do I want to go first? But I need to get more cubes from reserves. Which of these action cards am I going to take? Should I score this region now? Should I take the action card just so Bob doesn't get it? And it's vicious. You are constantly messing with other people, constantly taking them over. This is called a Euro game, but oh my, it's like a war game when you play this sucker. And especially when you play with 4 and 5, because the fighting for the different provinces is so frenzied. And oh, you're winning that province, well, I'm going to move your cubes out, so now you're in 2nd place. And wow, I mean, moving the king around, move the king to a province where you have 1st place so that nobody else can add cubes to that province. They can't do anything there until they move that king away. But now it's time to score. Not only can no one get you, but you also get the +2 points. I don't know what it is. The board is boring. They're cubes. There's giant, weird, humongous pawn. The cards don't look that exciting. I mean, really the only exciting thing about the game is this Castillo, which is really cool. And yet I still love it because the gameplay here supersedes everything. And I am engrossed and involved every turn of the game. They say there's a short game of 6 turns or a long game of 9. That's crazy. I've never played 6. 9 is fine. And yes, it can take 2 hours, but usually is a 90-minute game. But it's 90 minutes of tension. There's a lot of games today that go around area control and different things. This is the best area control game probably. And it's so pure, and I don't use this word very often, but it's very true here, elegant. Everything works together. There's an expansion that adds special cards for the players, and it's not bad. And there's another expansion that adds America and other provinces, and that's whatever, a waste of time, I think. Because this game is almost perfect in its execution. I know it's not so easy to find now, but you almost always can find it if you go to a convention. If someone will have it there, maybe someone in your game group has it, or maybe you find a copy on eBay or something. Get it, play it. It might not be for everybody, and it is a little mean for some folks, but it is a game that I absolutely enjoy and am thrilled to have in my collection, and I plan to keep it for a long time. That is El Grande.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!